Do you ever feel like a successful, high-achieving woman on the outside, the person that everybody sees, but yet on the inside, your thoughts are stuck on repeat with doubt, overwhelm, or imposter syndrome? In this episode of Lead with Spark, we're talking about identity and emotional intelligence for women leaders. How to stop letting your feelings run the show and start leading with confidence, clarity, and calm. If you're craving authentic leadership, better mindset, and real work-life alignment, this conversation is for you. Welcome to the Lead with Spark podcast, the show where real women lead with authenticity, show up with presence, and live out their purpose. I'm Lynsey Mulder, speaker, C-suite executive, family gal, travel junkie, and a firm believer that your leadership starts from within. Around here, we go beyond the fluff. We talk about the real stuff no one teaches you in leadership training. Your values, your superpower strengths, boundaries to stop burnout, and how to quit being the chaos coordinator of your own life. Whether you're building a business, leading a team, or just trying to stop feeling stuck in the daily grind, this is your space to get clear, get aligned, and finally lead with confidence. So let's cut the noise and reconnect with the spark that makes you, you. Let's go get our spark on. I want to start today with a question. Have you ever had a day where on paper everything looks fine, but inside your mind it feels like a tornado? You wake up a little tired, you spill your coffee, you scroll your email, and there it is, the message that instantly makes your stomach drop. Maybe it's a client who's unhappy, a boss who's circling back, or a calendar reminder for a meeting that you're dreading, that project that the bottom just fell out of. And before you even leave the house, the thoughts have started. Why did I say yes to this? I should be further along by now. Everyone else seems to handle this better than I do. From the outside, you look like a capable, high-achieving woman. But on the inside, your inner dialogue is not always that kind. If you've ever felt like your emotions hijacked your day and your brain turned into a 24-hour talk radio show, all about criticism and doubt, well, then this episode is for you. Today, we're talking about identity, your identity. We're going to talk about emotional intelligence and how to stop letting rogue emotions take charge. Because here's the truth. Your feelings are absolutely valid. They're real. They show up uninvited, and sometimes they're super loud in our brains. But they're not always accurate, and they do not get to be the final word on who you are. So let's dig in. When I say identity, I'm talking about what you truly believe is true about who you are. Not your job title, not the roles that you play for everybody else, not what other people think that you're good at. Identity is that deeper truth, your values, your strengths, your story, your faith, if that's important to you, and your purpose, the passions that you have. Now contrast that with your feelings. Feelings are temporary states. They come and go. They are influenced by sleep, hormones, workload. They're influenced by those old stories that you have on replay in your mind. And you know what it is? That awkward conversation that you had 3 days ago that you're still replaying in the shower. Feelings are data. They're not destiny. The problem is, for a lot of high-achieving women, those two things get tangled really closely together, and they become hard to separate. A bad day quietly becomes, I'm a bad leader. A mistake becomes, I'm not cut out for this. A season of exhaustion and overwhelm becomes, okay, great. This is who I am now. I just have to push through, even if I'm not happy. That's where emotional intelligence comes in. Emotional intelligence is a skill set that lets you say, all right, I'm feeling anxious right now, and I can still choose a grounded action that aligns with who I want to be. You can have both, and both can be true. It doesn't mean that you never feel overwhelmed or angry or sad. It means you know how to notice those emotions, name them, and navigate them without handing them the steering wheel. So I want to walk you through the identity and emotion loop, and then I'm going to give you a really practical way to retrain that loop in your mind so that your feelings support your identity instead of sabotaging it. So let's talk about the loop first. Picture this. It's a Wednesday. You open your inbox and you see a comment from your boss that feels pretty sharp. Or you see a client who's decided to cancel. Or your teenager sends you a text that makes you feel like you want to bang your head on the table. That's the trigger. Next comes the feeling. Maybe it's shame or frustration or fear. Your heart rate goes up a little bit. Your shoulders start to tighten. You feel that little drop in your stomach. Then, almost instantly, a thought attaches itself to that emotion. Ugh, I always mess this up. They probably think I'm not capable. Of course this is happening today. I'm behind on everything else, just one more thing. And if we're not careful, that thought grows into an identity story. Maybe I'm just not leadership material. Maybe I'm feeling at both work and at home. I'm the problem. Now, we're no longer talking about a single email or a single moment. We're talking about who you believe that you are, your identity. When that happens, we tend to do one of two things. We either shut it down and stuff it. We pretend like we're fine and we push through harder. We put on that polished face and we just keep going. Or we sit in it and we start to spiral. We replay it, overthinking it, building out 20 possible disasters in our mind. Both usually lead us to the same place, inaction and misaligned action. You do not have the hard conversation. You delay the project that matters. You numb out with scrolling or snacks or overwork instead of doing the things that move you forward. Here's the part that I want you to hear. Feeling that way does not mean that you are broken. It does not mean that you're not capable. It doesn't mean that you're not terrific at what you're doing. It means your brain is doing what brains are designed to do, which is protect you and look for danger. But if you do not step in and redirect, that loop will quietly define your identity for you. So let's chat about how to interrupt it on purpose. I love a good framework, so of course we're going to use the word spark. I want to walk you through a simple process that you can use when your emotions are loud and you feel yourself getting pulled into that loop. SPARK stands for see it, pause and process, align with identity, replace the reaction, and keep curating your inputs. Let's start with see it. The very first step is simply noticing what is happening. Most of us are so used to powering through that we don't even realize we are carrying that knot of anxiety or that simmering resentment until it just explodes at the worst time. So, see it means that you call it what it is. This email just triggered me. I'm feeling embarrassed now. I feel lonely. I'm overwhelmed and I'm trying to pretend like I'm not. That alone sounds small, but it's powerful. When you name an emotion, you move it from the swirl of your body into the light of your awareness. It's no longer this vague cloud. It's something that you can actually work with. You can ask yourself, what just happened that stirred this up? Where am I feeling this in my body? That is you stepping into emotional intelligence. The next is pause and process. This is where clarity breaks come in. You do not need an entire day at the spa, although, I'm not opposed to that. If someone offers it, I'm not telling you to say no. Go for it. But what I am talking about is a 5 to 10 minute intentional pause. Close your laptop. Step away from your workstation or that endless pile of laundry. You take a short walk, grab a notebook, sit in your car, or just stare out the window if you need to. And in that pause, ask yourself a couple questions. What story am I telling myself about this? Is that story 100% true? What else could be true here? You might realize I'm telling myself my boss thinks I'm incompetent, but the only thing that actually happened is I got a direct email with a correction. Am I telling myself this one client canceling means my business is failing? But that's not the full story. This is not about positive Pollyanna spin. It's about grounding yourself in reality instead of assumptions. Then we move to align with your identity. This is where your identity statements become so important. If you do not define who you are on purpose, your emotions and circumstances will try to do it for you. So I want you to think about a few statements you want to live from as a woman leader. Things like, I am a capable leader who is still learning. I am a woman who keeps her promises to herself. I'm loved and worthy even when I make mistakes. I am someone who's resilient and gets back up. These are not wishful thinking lines. They're anchors. They're affirmation statements. One of my favorite tools. Simply turn those statements into a short voice memo on your phone. 90 seconds or 2 minutes. In that recording, you speak your identity out loud in your own voice, as if you're talking to a dear friend. You might include your values. You might include statements about your faith if that's part of who you are. You might speak over your day. I'm going to influence the day today, not just be affected by it. I'm going to bring my spark into the rooms that I walk into. Then you listen to that recording every morning. You're literally training your brain. You're giving it new default settings. Instead of waking up and immediately letting fear or fatigue write the script, you are reminding yourself who you are and how you want to show up. That leads into the R in Spark, which is replace the reaction. Once you've seen it, paused, and aligned your identity, you get to choose a different reaction than what would have happened on default. Instead of sending the overly emotional email, you might decide to draft it, let it sit, come back to it when you're calmer. Instead of numbing out with 2 hours of scrolling on social media at night, you might choose to text a friend, go for a walk, or spend 10 minutes planning tomorrow so your brain feels less chaotic. Instead of telling yourself, I am a terrible mom, you might say, that moment didn't feel great, but I'm a mom who repairs. I'm going to circle back and have a better conversation. The key question here is, what is one small action I can take in the next 10 minutes that aligns with the woman that I want to be? Not 30 things, just one. Emotional intelligence does not mean you never get triggered. It means when you do, you have the tools to pause, realign, and respond instead of react. And that takes us all the way to the last part. Keep curating your inputs. This one is huge, and it's where a lot of people forget they have more power than they think. Your emotional world is shaped every single day by what and who you surround yourself with, who you spend time with, what you scroll and watch, the podcasts you listen to, the books you read, the language you use to describe yourself. If you're freestyling those inputs, you're basically leaving your emotional state up to chance. If you wake up and immediately roll over and start scrolling, your brain is absorbing comparison, noise, outrage, perfection, and then you wonder why you feel behind by 7:30 in the morning. Curating your inputs might mean that you set a boundary with someone who drains you. It might mean following accounts that inspire growth instead of feeding insecurity. It might mean joining a support group or a mastermind or even working with a coach so you have a safe place to process everything that's swirling around in your head. The point is, you cannot just willpower your way into emotions if you just keep swimming in the same emotional water that you've always swam in. You are allowed to design your environment, your routines, and your relationships to support the identity that you are building, to the person that you want to be. So let's pull this all together. You are not your worst thought of the day. You are not the sum of one bad meeting or one hard season. You are more than the story your fear tells you. You are a woman with values, with gifts, experience, and a future that has not even fully unfolded yet. Your emotions are part of that story, but they don't have to be the author. This week, I invite you into a little experiment. First, write 3 I am identity statements you want to live from. Not what you feel on a bad day, but who you want to be as the truest version of yourself. Your truest identity. Second, open the voice memo app on your phone and record yourself saying those statements out loud. Add anything else that reminds you of who you are and how you want to show up. It might feel a little bit awkward the first time, and that's okay. You will survive talking to yourself for 60 seconds. I promise. And then listen to that recording every morning for the next 7 days. And each time you feel your emotions trying to hijack your identity during the day, walk through Spark. See it, pause and process, align with your identity, replace the reaction, keep curating your inputs. You are training your brain to speak truth. You're building emotional intelligence. You're reclaiming your identity from the loudest feeling in the room. If you do this experiment, tell me what shifted for you, what you notice, and what's still hard. You're not meant to navigate all of this alone. And if you're listening and you realize, wow, my inner identity story has been running the show for a long time, and you want support untangling that and building a new one, reach out to me. I will drop a link in the show notes where you can explore how you can work with me. Thank you for spending this time today and leading with intention. Keep honoring who you truly are and keep showing up with your spark. Talk to you next week. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for being here and for doing the work to lead yourself first. If this episode sparked something for you, take a second to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with another woman who's ready to own her leadership. And remember, the way you lead your life is the way you lead everything else. If you or your organization are looking for a speaker, an impactful workshop, or an executive coach, head over to lynseymoulder.com and let's connect. Keep showing up. Keep leading with Spark. You got this. I'll see you next time.